KNUS Denver. Sleep deprived and heavily caffeinated.
All right, let's do this then.
This is the Jeff and Bill Show.
I don't agree with that.
They don't always agree, but hey, at least they have coffee.
Coffee.
And each other.
I love you, man.
God help us.
I want to bless him. We need all the help we can get.
Now here's Jeff Hunt and Bill Thorpe. The Jeff and Bill Show on News Talk 710 KNUS.
Well, it's 6 a.m. in the Mile High City on this Monday, August 25th, 2025. Good morning, Denver, Colorado. I hope those Blues got you up this morning. Great to be with you. Glad to have you with us. We've got an absolutely fantastic show for you today. Kicking in this year, new policies regarding cell phones and kids in school. What does your district have to say? It's left up to each district, and in some cases left up to each school in each district to make those policies. We'll be talking about that. Brandy Bradley's going to join us in the 7 o'clock hour as the special session down at the state capitol to fill $1 billion budget deficit continues, and it has gotten spicy. The Democrats keep putting one Republican lawmaker in timeout because he just keeps speaking.
Well, that's great. So, I like it.
Regardless of what side it would be, Bill would be in timeout.
Yes, I would.
Always.
Yes, absolutely. And that's why I like this. I'm like, good. He's kind of gumming up the mix. I like that. I enjoy this, and I enjoy him being.
Graph, by the way.
And I love the fact that he's being just a little bit of a problem because this is kind of stupid. So I enjoy in the midst of the stupidity, you being a little bit of a problem. It speaks so deeply to my soul. So I appreciate it.
You know, there's so much stupidity going on down there.
Oh yeah, there is.
So
yeah,
we're going to talk Trump. Rubio halting truck driver visas. If you are not from America, you cannot drive a commercial truck at this point. And then the FBI Bolton raid that took place on Friday. What does that mean moving forward? Plus, all the latest news on this to kick off your week. Glad to have you with us. Let's get to news and comment with Mr. Blake Olson.
KNUS Denver.
Blake Olson.
Blake Olson, news and comment.
Hey, good Monday morning. Let's kick off the week. Hope you had a great weekend. Some showers and thunderstorms in the area up and down the Front Range last night. 60 and cloudy right now in Denver. Expecting a high of 72 today. This portion of the news sponsored by Pastor Camp Heating and Air Conditioning at 303-777-1234 to learn more about special savings opportunities on Lennox equipment. Our top story, a deadly officer-involved shooting is under investigation in Denver. It happened in the 4900 block of East Donald Avenue early Friday morning. A domestic violence call was reported along with a shots fired report in the same area. A man ran from the scene when officers arrived, which led to a struggle when the man allegedly pulled out a gun. Investigators say the struggle led to an officer firing one shot, causing the man's death. No officers were hurt, and multiple agencies are investigating. 2 teens are dead after a crash in Aurora. Police say the crash happened Friday afternoon in the area of East Arapahoe Road and East Peakview Drive. A motorcycle crashed into the side of an SUV that was making a turn at the intersection, killing the 18-year-old motorcycle driver and his 17-year-old female passenger. The crash is under investigation. 46-year-old Michael Sankoria, who's from the Gambia, will spend decades in a U.S. prison after being found guilty of committing torture. You may remember this story. Korea became the first non-U.S. national ever convicted of that crime in April. He was sentenced to more than 67 years in prison in Denver. in a Denver federal court on Friday. Prosecutors said that Correa belonged to an armed unit in the Gambia that tortured people on behalf of that country's former president. He entered the U.S. in 2016 and then moved to Denver, where he was arrested in 2019. National Guard troops in D.C. are now armed and will continue to focus their work on protecting federal assets and providing a safe environment there. DJT is now turning his attention to Baltimore and may send troops to the Charm City. Lockdowns and evacuations unfolded Sunday after an unconfirmed active shooter report, actually a couple, at the University of South Carolina, and a hoax, another one, at Villanova University. But they were both unconfirmed and hoaxes. Kilmar Garcia, the Maryland man, is reporting to an ICE field office in Baltimore today. His lawyers expect he'll be arrested and sent to Uganda. Man, he's having a worldwide tour. In a court filing Saturday, his lawyers claim the DJT administration offered to deport him to Costa Rica if he pleaded guilty to human smuggling charges, but if he didn't agree to the plea deal, they would deport him to the African nation. See ya. The Kremlin is lowering hopes that the war in Ukraine will end anytime soon. Appearing on NBC's Meet the Press, Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov said there is no meeting planned between President Putin and Ukrainian President Zelensky. Lavrov said the key issue, including security guarantees and territorial disputes, have yet to be resolved. J.D. Vance on the Sunday shows.
I think the Russians have made significant concessions to President Trump for the first time in 3.5 years of this conflict. They've actually been willing to be flexible on some of their core demands. They've talked about what would be necessary to end the war. Of course, they haven't been completely there yet, or the war would be over, but we're engaging in this diplomatic process in good faith. We are trying to negotiate as much as we can with both the Russians and the Ukrainians to find a middle ground to stop the killing.
The Rocks, first team to be mathematically eliminated from the postseason in Major League Baseball. They lose 4-0 to the Pirates. I know. I thought they were mathematically eliminated in June or May.
Hey, Blake.
Yes.
Okay. Every once in a while, the Onion hits a home run.
Yeah.
Just this past week, okay, the Onion headline was Colorado Rockies pitcher promises to give up home run to help sick child. I was like, that's good.
That is really good. I didn't see that.
Yeah, I'm
one.
like, that is so appropriate.
Oh,
yes.
my goodness.
Yeah, like, that is just so appropriate.
Perfect.
Yeah, when the
Perfect.
Onion is making fun of our teams, we really suck, because that
Yeah,
means it is a
absolutely.
universal joke. It means everybody knows that we are that bad. The Onion can make fun of us in their satirical paper. That's how far the Rockies have fallen. Yeah.
That's a
Good
good
You
job,
guys
guys.
know my journey with the Montforts at this
Yes.
point are like, sheesh. Yeah, I have more respect for these guys, to be
Yes.
honest with you.
Telling you.
Because to have the entire city yelling at you and to just shrug,
Yeah.
It's amazing. It is
like-
amazing.
dang, that's next level.
Yeah,
They are
it is.
tough.
And the thing is, I've dealt with, in English football, I've dealt with bad owners that are like actively trying to hurt the club. This is a little bit different. this, this is more of a
This
malaise.
is like the bank. Yeah, right.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, the bank account's still going
Yeah,
up.
exactly.
What do
Still
I
going.
care?
Yeah, exactly.
The
Yeah.
book they're going to be able to write on this in 30 or 40 years on the business model for them
Yeah.
is amazing.
You know what the crazy part is going to happen? That just in case, if ever they catch lightning in a bottle, like they did that one season
Yeah.
where we made the run into the World Series, if they ever catch that again, everybody in that boardroom is going to look around and go, wow, this is amazing. Why didn't we try this years ago? We're making so much money. Everybody loves us. This is great.
You know what it kind of reminds me of? It's like somebody whose product has all 1star reviews.
Yes.
And just goes, well, you continue to buy it.
Yeah,
Why do I
exactly.
need to change anything?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
true.
We may have 1-star reviews, but there are 3 million of them. So 3 million of y'all bought this thing. Let's keep going.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They're geniuses.
Yes, they are.
13 days away from the Broncos kicking off the 25 season. They finished the preseason undefeated, beat the Saints on Saturday. They need to make over 35 cuts this week or moves. College football kicks off for area teams on Thursday. Wyoming takes on Akron. CU plays host to Georgia Tech Friday, and CSU at Washington. Shedeur Sanders says obviously he'll make the 53-man roster with the Browns. Man, he's so confident. After a horrible day over the weekend, sacked 5 times. Yeah, he did not play well.
Now, did you see any of the highlights? Did you watch any of it?
I did. I watched his portions.
I did too. What did you think? Now, because your eyes are better than mine are. What did you see on the field?
I don't know about that, but here's what I saw. I mean, you have to be able to climb the pocket.
Yeah.
And this is what he didn't do at CU. You know, ad-libbing, the pocket starts to close, and you got to step up in the pocket and be able to fire it and be able to throw completions from the pocket. Instead, you're backpedaling, then you spin and you break out of it and you try to become Fran Tarkenton, if there's anyone old enough to remember the great Fran Tarkenton. Yeah, or Tebow, there you go. He threw for 14 yards, and unless he's disciplined in the pocket, he doesn't have a chance. He could change it, he could change his ways, but I don't see it happening.
Yeah, I think this was one where you saw lots of pressure seem to get to him and rattle him in a way early on. Again, he's seeing different defenses. The thing for me that concerned me, if I am, and again, I'm not the coach of the Browns, and never will I be, but it was the sacks. It was that decision to get me into a situation where if you're going to spin out and you're going to outside the pocket, you can't just throw it to the stands. You can't just, I understand the idea of intentional grounding, but there are some rules about where and when that applies. And you have to be smart enough. I still remember, as frustrating as it was, where Peyton Manning would take 3 steps back after the snap, look and go, oh, this is dead, and just plant it in the ground. And you're like, dang, but okay, that's just an incompletion. It didn't necessarily hurt the team per se. Right. And I think that's what I saw with Shedeur, is the attempt to make something happen hurt the team. And I go back to, I didn't understand the idea of pass protection as a lineman until it was Mark Schlereth years ago, who said the difficulty is, as a lineman, when that quarterback escapes the pocket. He said, I'm set up to prevent this big, giant, sweaty man from going to this spot behind me. And now you've changed that spot, especially if you run around the other side of me. And now how am I supposed to? How am I supposed to shift my body and change it? Because you've just given this, because if you're on the left side of the line and you escape to the left, you've just given that defender a better path. He's like, what am I supposed to do?
That's right.
At that point, you screwed up my job. I've spent the entire time prepping to do this, and now you've gone over here, and I have to adapt. So they said sometimes you expect it with certain quarterbacks, and you get a timing. It's kind of a 1, 2, 3. I haven't seen the ball. He's going to run. But he said, he goes, that's the thing, is it totally it forces you as the lineman to now change everything you've been doing. So,
exactly. It's designed to create a pocket right there.
Yes, it is.
And if you're not unloading at 2.5, under 3 seconds, it's going to break down. You better get upfield somehow, or like you said, you got to throw an incompletion.
Yeah.
Or else you're killing your team.
Yeah.
You're killing me, Whitey. You're killing me.
This is crazy. And as much as soccer and football are different, there's a goalkeeper, Shaka Hislop, that played for a number of teams, including my Newcastle Magpies. And he talks about the idea that when he was in pressure, kick it in the stands. And one of the other people on the show, and this is like 10, 15 years ago, looks at him and goes, what? And he goes, listen, because I'm a goalkeeper. I've had people score on me in a lot of places on the field. No one's ever scored on me from the stands. He just goes in the stands. And so I
That's
see
right.
that. There are times in which,
Absolutely.
there's one place I know they're never going to intercept the ball. The stands.
Yes.
Throw the ball in the
Exactly.
stands at that point.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And all the young quarterbacks want to be Lamar Jackson.
Yes, they do. Yeah.
And there's, I mean, he's incredible. There's
Yes.
no doubt. But guess what? He hasn't won a Super Bowl yet.
Yeah.
And even he knows he's got to get vertical,
Yeah.
north and south sooner or later, or something has to happen.
And
with
while
the
there is only
incompletions.
one Lamar Jackson, there are a whole bunch of other not Lamar Jacksons that are also playing in the NFL, and
Amen.
all of them seem to hold a particular skill set, and that is
Yes,
pocket passing.
exactly.
So
That's right.
if we're going to focus on something,
Isn't that
if
amazing?
we're going to, I would assume
the
that one's the one.
40-year-olds in the league are able
Yes.
to just step up in the pocket and deliver it.
Yeah,
no
they
doubt.
don't have to run. They don't have to have a 4.40 and make it to the corner and get up field and break the and break protection. No, they don't have to. They just have to hold there, know that and again, stepping up in the pocket because you can create that. You're reinforcing what the lineman's doing. You're reinforcing his job. But I
Well,
don't know.
if he becomes coachable and he's
Yeah.
able to humble himself in this process, maybe he'll have a chance.
Yeah.
But
Hey, but at least-
they don't wait too long.
Yeah, but at least he didn't try to punch somebody. My
Oh.
brother did.
Yeah, that's true.
That was
but
weird.
But he's a safety. you
Yeah,
know?
exactly. I know.
Yeah.
But still, did you share the moment where it's two guys in helmets punching, and you're like,
Yeah,
you're wearing
still-
helmets.
still
What are we
dumb.
doing? Yes.
Yeah, hello.
You're gonna hurt yourself. Even
Right,
if you
you're gonna hurt
connect,
your hand.
You're gonna hurt your hand. You
And
dum-dum.
he has punched a few people
Yes, he
in his
has. I
lifetime,
was like,
and
why?
not only
Yeah.
on the football field.
Oh yeah, exactly. So the thing is, even if we dislike his behavior off the field, he knows the difference. Yet he's still swinging. I'm still like,
Right.
there's a decision
Hello,
making
that's
somewhere in
metal.
your head here that I'm questioning
Metal
this.
and steel
Yes.
and hard plastic.
Exactly.
All right, 59 in Lone Tree, 57 in Boulder, 60 in Denver. Jeff and Billy continue. Blake Olson, News Talk 710 KNUS.
The Denver forecast on this early Monday, mostly cloudy skies, temperatures right around 60 degrees by daybreak. For the rest of your Monday, showers and thunderstorms likely, cooler today, highs in the low 70s. For tonight, cloudy skies with showers and thunderstorms, low temperatures in the upper 50s. Tuesday, showers and storms once again, highs in the low 70s. Weather brought to you by L&L Heating and Air Conditioning. For quick, trustworthy, and dependable service, call L&L Heating and Air Conditioning at 720-851-1691. Visit them online at bestdenverhvac.com. That's bestdenverhvac.com. You'll be comfortable with L&L. I'm day weather meteorologist Patrice Sutter in the 710 KNUS Weather Center.
Well, this Wednesday, Billy and I will be taking a world
Yes.
tour down to the IHOP off of Colorado Boulevard.
Yeah, this is going to be cool. Back in some of my old stomping grounds, IHOP, right off of Colorado Boulevard and I-25.
That's
This
right.
is going to be really cool. We're there 6 to 10. Again, we've got you the 710 KNUS special, courtesy of Mike Boyle. He's able to pull the strings.
Yep.
There at the IHOP. So we're talking about
And one of our
eggs.
favorites, Bobby, too.
Oh, Bobby's amazing. So you're getting the
Bobby.
big breakfast. You're getting the eggs cooked any way you want. You're getting your choice of the meats, and then they're throwing in the pancakes as well. And their pancakes are absolutely fantastic. And that's $7.10. Come and swing by, hang out with us just for a cup of coffee, or just say hi. Just if you want to, just hang out the entire day. and spend time with us. Either way, we'd love to see you. $7.10 right there at I-25 and Colorado Boulevard. We will get you started hot and fresh, better than any of the other breakfast deals you're going to have that morning. Everything served to your liking, served fresh, made to order. You're going to spend more than $7.10 of that cup of coffee and that stupid plastic wrapped muffin at the place that has the mermaid as the logo. So, you understand this.
I can't eat their food.
I
think
can't
it's
either.
terrible.
I think it's awful. I think their food's absolutely atrocious. I'm surprised that
and to be very clear, we're talking about Starbucks' food.
Yeah, the Starbucks food's horrible. I don't know why anybody even
I don't know
tries that.
either.
Yeah. It's it reminds me of just vending machine food without the vending
Yes,
machine.
100%.
Yeah, that's all it is. Yeah. That's
No,
all.
fast food is better than what they have there.
Yeah, which is absolutely ridiculous. So, yeah, come on out and,
And
see
you
us.
can get quality food with IHOP.
No, fresh. Serve to order the eggs any way you want. Your choice, the meat, the sausage, the bacon, and, of course, those pancakes. And those pancakes are fantastic. And I love going out there and seeing the IHOP because I've talked to you about this before. And it concerns John Corbliss doing the video monitoring down the hall quite a bit of this that I can't cook pancakes. I can't. I'm awful. I don't know what it is. I'm awful at it. So when I go somewhere where they can actually cook pancakes, I try them because I'm like, no, this is what they're supposed to taste like. This is great. Mine tastes like cardboard. I don't know
I can
why.
tell you what I think the problem is.
It's probably intelligence. But what is it?
I think you turn it. I think you get it too hot.
Could be. I have no clue. I have tried and tried. Now I just give up. I haven't tried in months because it's just futile. There's no way. There's no way to do it. So yeah, we all have to know our strengths.
Well,
mine is not pancakes.
Big news that folks are dealing with as they head back to school right now are cell phone bans. This coming from the Denver Post. As students return to school, the leaders of Colorado's K-12 districts are considering how they might limit cell phone use in schools, including whether to ban the devices outright to meet a 2026 deadline set by a newly enacted state law. Some restrictions have grown in popularity nationwide as research shows phones and social media negatively affect students' mental health and academic outcomes, but Denver area districts have been slow to ban phones from the classroom, with educators saying they can be both a distraction and an educational tool depending on how they're used. There are a lot of ways a ban can go right, and there are a lot of ways it can go wrong, says Denver Public Schools Deputy Superintendent Tony Smith. We want to use technology, but we also have to reinforce soft skills in a way that kids can be successful. DPS leaders are likely to introduce a new cell phone policy to the school board by the second semester of the current academic year. House Bill 25-1135 passed by state lawmakers in April and signed into law by Governor Jared Polis requires school districts to adopt policies by July 1st, 2026 that regulate how students can use cell phones during the day. The new law does not outright ban or restrict phones in classrooms or school buildings. Instead, it allows districts to decide whether to place limitations, if any, on phones and determine what possible restrictions might also look like. So far, DPS, Colorado's largest district, has let its nearly 200 schools implement their own cell phone rules. Most allow some level of use, but Marie L. Greenwood, early through 8th, and Beach Court Elementary have prohibited students from using their cell phones on campus during the school day for the last 2 years. Now, Bill, we actually have a split house on this.
Oh, interesting.
In the sense that we have kids that go to what my wife was telling me what it's called. Of course, my wife knows the policies at the school, and
yeah, of course. That's okay.
Yeah. I know the name of the school the kids go to.
Yeah, and you know where it's located, which is most important to get the kids. Again, this is the father thing. We focus on the important things. Where are the kids? How do I get them and pick them up? Everything else, not so important.
I think it's Nate. I forget his last name, but he has a great comedy bit where his daughter misses the school or doesn't know which bus to get on to go home.
Oh, yeah.
And so they call him. What is the bus number that your daughter's supposed to be on? And he goes, you looked at the parent form.
Yes.
And you thought the best thing to do would be skip mom and call dad's cell phone.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Oh, yes.
So we have our kids go to a high school that implements cell phone in the classroom because they actually submit their homework via it.
Nice.
So they take pictures and
Yeah.
and submit documents via cell phone. So the phone's more or less integrated into the daily operations of the classroom. But that's high school. Our kids that go to a classical charter school that doesn't even have computers. They don't even use computers. It is like old school. They learn cursive. They learn Latin, all this stuff. They're not allowed to have the phone anywhere at all during the day, not even during the lunch period. If you bring it to school, it stays in your backpack the entire time.
Yeah.
And everything's turned in via paper, and you can't even use it during lunch. So you have a few different options here that a school can pick. One is fully integrated, right? You just use the cell phone throughout. If the teacher wants you to put it away, sometimes in the classroom they have little cell phone holders, and you put your cell phone up there. But more or less, you're using it throughout the day, right? And for us, with our kids in high school, that seems appropriate. That doesn't bother us. They're at a point where, you know, they're staying late after school anyways because they've got sports. So they have cell phones and they use it. Now, we don't let them use social media, and that's going to be, in our house, 18. Once you reach 18 and over, then you can use social media. That's how we think of it. But so one option, use it totally in the classroom, integrated. The other option, you have to keep it away, but you can pull it out during lunch, after school, that type of thing. And then the third option is no cell phone, not even during lunch. That's what Boulder's decided to do. So your phone goes away the entire time. And during lunch, they've brought out like ping pong tables and chess sets and games you could play, but you're not going to see the cell phone, period, during the day. Bill, if you were going to devise a policy for your family, for the kids that or for the school that your kids may go to, where would you land on this?
I dislike the cell phones in school and class. I think they are a detriment to learning. I think they're an impediment to learning. Many times because it allows immediate gratification. And as soon as, and again, the social media on your phone is designed many times the same way that gambling is.
Yes.
So it feeds little bits of dopamine. And if you're sitting in class, classroom doesn't feed it that way. So I can see why your brain is looking for that immediate gratification, especially when you are starting to tune out of the lesson. It's easy to turn and say, let me check this, especially when it's just there in your pocket. And it is also incredibly easy in large class settings. And I'm talking about settings in which you have over 22 kids, for 1, 2, or even 3 of those kids to hide the fact that they are looking at their cell phone only because of numbers. When you get over 30, it is really difficult, in my experience, for a teacher to monitor the behavior of everybody in class. It allows for more goofing off. It allows for more people not paying attention, for side quests, things like that. So that's the problem I have. Here's the only hiccup that I'm having getting towards a no cell phone at all rule inside of schools is, unfortunately, the other dark side of our society, and that's school shootings. It is, in that instance, it is a lifeline. And I would be, as a parent, again, my youngest one is 2 years away from getting out of high school, so I'm at a different educational journey than you are at this point. But it would scare me to know that in a situation like a school shooting, my kids wouldn't have immediate access to that cell phone, or in order to get it, would put them in danger. And what I mean by the idea of if it's in their backpack, I'm assuming in some cases the backpack is in the hall, not necessarily in the classroom, unless they have a homeroom. But again, what's class size? Where do you keep the backpack, etc.? And if it's in the room, okay, a little bit different, but then it also becomes more of a possible distraction for a kid inside the classroom. So I'm guessing it might be something where the backpacks are kept in a locker room or something out in the hall, because then it has a degree of separation from where the student could use it. But the last thing you want during a school shooting is for the kid to go out into the hall in order to get the cell phone. And we've seen, especially like in Uvalde, one of the first contacts that they had about the school shooter was from a student with a cell phone. That sometimes is the first 911 calls that come in. So the quick response in some cases is predicated on the kids having their cell phone. And that's the real problem that I'm having in my head. I want to say no cell phones, but the last thing that I want is for that decision to put these kids in greater danger because of something else that is going off in our society. And that I can't come to a correct answer on this one for me.
Here's
I'm
an
divided.
interesting aspect of this. So
Yeah.
we have a neighbor who's a dean of a Denver public school, and we talked to him about this, and he said they had an emergency. Now, it wasn't an active school shooting, but it was a lockdown, lock in place, that type of thing that they were dealing with at Denver public schools. Guess what the kids did with their cell phones?
What?
Snapchatted.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Selfies.
Oh, yeah, selfies.
Click, click. School lockdown.
Yeah.
Click, click.
Oh,
Up
of
on the
course.
self.
Yeah.
And he said that if someone was monitoring Snapchat, they were giving themselves away. And so he's like, if you think that the first thing that's happening when kids face a lockdown or emergency situation is call 911 or call their parents, he's like, I got a harsh reality for you. They're actually taking selfies. So keep that in mind too. So you have three options here. Full integration. And when I say full integration, what I've seen at our kids' schools that do allow cell phone integration is that some teachers that don't want the cell phones during the day, they have like cubbies. So you walk into the classroom and you put your cell phone in the cubby. Okay? That seems perfectly fine, right? Like there it is. It's in the cubby. We can get it if we need to. But in the meantime, for sophomore level Spanish, you're going to be focused on that content. The other option is in the backpack, can come out during lunch, that type of thing. And then third is it stays in the backpack if it at all times, or even doesn't even come to school, it stays at home. What do you think? What would you want your kids' school to do? Give us a call, 303-696-1971. Text us on the Dan Caplis Law text line at 720-819-5115. Join the conversation. Would love to hear from you. All right, let's talk Colorado's best roofing. You know that living in Colorado means dealing with unpredictable weather, hail, snow, heavy winds, you name it, we got it. That's why you need a roofing company you can trust, and that's Colorado's Best Roofing. They're local, family-owned, and have served the Denver area for over 12 years. They understand our unique climate and know how to build a roof that lasts. So whether you need a repair after a storm or a whole new roof, Colorado's Best Roofing has got you covered. Here's what I really love. They offer a free, no-obligation inspection. They'll come out, take a look, and give you an honest assessment. There's no pressure, no gimmicks, just straight talk from the pros. Plus, they work with your insurance company to make sure you get the coverage you deserve. So don't wait until the next big storm hits. Give Colorado's Best Roofing a call today at 303-797-ROOF. That's 303-797-7663. Or visit them at Colorado or at roofingcolorado.com. That's roofingcolorado.com. 303-797-7663. Trust the best. Colorado's Best Roofing. All right, we'll continue with your phone calls and texts. You're listening to the Jeff and Bill Show.
This is Denver's Talk Leader News Talk 710 KNUS.
Welcome back to the Jeff and Bill Show. Text messages are hot on this one. Here's a really good one from a teacher in the Cherry Creek School District. We've had a cell phone policy for 4 years. Students may not have their phones in class. It's an educational game changer. I will also say students not having cell phones also improves student safety. The longer we've had this policy, the less we've had students pushing back on the policy. I collect phones at the beginning of class, and students can take them back when class is over. In my mind, that seems like a good counterbalance, right? Like if you're concerned about safety, well, at least they're in the classroom. You have plenty of space. Just put like a little cubby up, that type of thing, and then grab them when you don't need them, or grab them when you need them. But the idea that students, I have them at their desk during class.
Yeah, that's too much.
Yeah, they're checked out.
Yeah,
I would check out.
It's too much of a temptation.
I go into meetings and check out.
Yeah,
with my cell phone.
Yeah,
so I know what the kids are gonna do.
Yeah, and I do think that behavior, if predictive, the kids will bend to what that is more times than not. And what I mean by that are things. All of us in our lives know someone or did have the experience of going to a school that didn't have uniforms and then a school that did. We either know somebody or did it ourselves. And that is a change in expectations and behavior. After a few weeks or months, if you had to make that change, you didn't get angry, you weren't angry, you knew exactly what you're going to wear. You may not have liked it, but you conformed to the expected behavior. And the same thing happens if you surrender your cell phones at the beginning of class. The thing that, for me, based on the surrendering of the phones at the beginning of class are twofold. One is, again, I look at number of students. Two, the amount of time for passing periods. And I don't know, because I know in larger schools, if you only have, a 5 or 10 minute passing period, the idea of going up into that box or cubby or whatever it is and gathering our phone can delay that. I've had classes in high school and college where you have to go from one side of the school to the other, and you just barely make it based on, as soon as that bell rings, getting out the door, navigating the crush of bodies inside of the hallways, and then eventually showing up at that door. I would be concerned about that. I'm not saying that it's impossible to overcome, but I think that is a minor thing to think about. How do we do it? Or maybe it's not just one giant bucket. Maybe it's cubbies that are, based on the alphabetical system, the first 3 letters of the alphabet, first half of the alphabet, based again on number of students. How does that break up properly? But I love the idea of forfeiture before class. I think that is incredibly intelligent because it also solves the parental problem of safety and security in any instance in when something might happen at the school, because the cell phones are already in the class. So if an emergency arises, there is the ability to get to them. And the idea is, go back to the STEM shooting with, Kendrick Castillo. And while I appreciate your conversation with the dean, I'm probably sure that the kids that were in the classroom with Kendrick and the kids in the neighboring classrooms weren't checking in and doing stuff on social media and taking selfies. Chances are they were panicked and were looking for any lifeline outside of that school to get themselves help. And that's the insular situation that worries me. The other kids on the other side of the school, probably selfies, probably checking Instagram. And that's part of the problem. But for those kids there, that's my main concern, because we haven't been able, in my mind, to solve that issue of the school shootings yet. And the cell phone seems to be a way to get more rapid response. So that's the one thing I'm worried about cutting. That's the one thread in this entire thing of the cell phone ban that I'm worried as a parent of snipping. I'm worried about that.
Let's break it down by age, too. Right?
Oh, that's good.
In our house, no cell phones till you get to high school. And that's basically because now you're starting to get more independence. You can't drive, and there's no pay phones to do the little stupid
how long can we get them done now?
Right,
yes,
right.
yes,
Which we all did.
Yes, the collect call.
To notify our parents that we were ready to get picked up. Like, I
did it.
could still see it outside of the building at Cherry Creek High School, where I would go up and do or you'd have the calling card with you, that type of thing, to get a hold of them. But we don't have those anymore.
Yeah.
So what do you do with your freshman soccer player that needs to get picked up?
My dad's answer was, still got those bus tokens in your pocket? I'll see you soon. Damn. You're right, Dad.
That's what helped make you the man you are today,
yes,
Bill
it
Thorpe.
did. In so many ways.
So if those don't exist, how do you get a hold of the kids? So in our house, it's once you get to high school. Now, we do have this little generic track phone
Yeah.
that can't do anything other than call, that if our kids in elementary or middle school were somewhere where they need to have or get contact with us,
Yeah.
they could.
I got on the
but-
wrong bus, whatever it is. Yeah.
Yeah, but that was it. And that's only really for one-off occasions. If you're going to the movies with your buddies or something, you need to call us afterwards. Here's a little track phone to go with you. But for the most part, until you got to high school, no cell phones. You don't need it to submit homework. You're not going to engage with it during the day. And so if you're in elementary or middle school, I could understand that don't even bring the phone to school.
Yeah.
Or if you're going to bring it, it stays in your backpack the entire time. Because if you're a middle school kid, you're not going to be doing great things with your cell phone.
No. And
anyways.
And I do really appreciate that. It's okay. I think that the majority of our social media problems start inside of middle school, not in elementary. And what I mean by social media is this is part of the problem that my kids have talked about, is that when you and I and many of the audience were growing up, at school, when we left the school building, we left a lot of those social problems there. The kid that was making fun of you, the kid that was bullying you, the group that you were ostracized from, the mean girls, all of those were left at the school. And if you were, going off to be in the band or run cross country, or, if you were volunteering at, someplace where you had a part-time job, those were all separate. But now, especially in middle school, those bullies, those mean girls can follow you, and they can create a presence outside of that school building that can impact the social structure on the inside of the school building, because who they're talking to, and they now have the ability 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to bully you and to be very, very aggressive. We experienced this in our own family. My middle schooler was being bullied mercilessly by high school kids. Kids that were a couple of years older than her, and for whatever reason weren't even in school with her, but were going after her. And this was ridiculous. The level of, and what it ended up happening, it started earlier on. And when it got into middle school, it was atrocious, to the point where, this is how bad it got. This group of girls was suggesting to my daughter that she kill herself, and giving her all sorts of reasons through social media as to why the world, the school, the class, everybody would be happier if she wasn't here. And they were getting other kids chiming in and other kids liking it. What does that do? Think about it as a child. When you're in a social setting at school and there's a group of people that are singling you out and pointing you out and making sure that you're the focus. And then they go to a point where now they can do that outside of school, and they've gone so far as to telling you need to end your life. And that is the message that you are receiving through this social media over and over and over again. And you're like, yeah, sure, I can block that and I don't have to listen to it. But that's also necessarily social media where the rest of your friends are as well. And those other friends, even though you may not see this feed, see that feed. And they talk to you about it, and they share it. So just because you don't see it doesn't mean it doesn't have the impact, especially if everybody else in the class or everybody else in your grade or the school sees it. Now, we had to go to the school. The only reason that we found these girls is because they were in the same grade as one of our other children. And our other child, even though they were using pseudonyms online, our other child went, oh, that's this person, this person, this person, this person. Named all of them. Knew exactly who they are. But if we didn't have that, we would have never been able to know who these girls were, ever. And that's the impact.
Yeah, that's a big impact.
That's how serious it is.
Well, we're talking Colorado schools across the state now implementing new cell phone policies, as they have to abide by a state law that doesn't say what the policy is. It just says you have to have a policy put in place by July 1st, 2026, now kicking off this year. What do you think of your kid's school cell phone policy? Give us a call. Would you like to see it stronger? Do you think cell phones they're the part of the future, implement them. Kids are going to be using them in the workforce anyways. It doesn't really matter. Or Let's take a few years, allow them to develop skills outside of technology, and then, the cell phone and all the tech will eventually come anyways. Would love to hear from you. 303-696-1971 or text us on the Dan Caplis Law text line at 720-819-5115. You're listening to the Jeff and Bill Show.
We are Denver's talk leader, News Talk 710, KNUS.
Wake up, Denver. There's no better place to start your morning than IHOP, where the pancakes are fluffy, the coffee is hot, and the smiles are endless. Wednesday, August 27th, join Jeff and Bill as they broadcast their show live from IHOP at 1595 South Colorado Boulevard in Denver. You're officially invited to be part of the excitement. Come grab your favorite breakfast and watch the Jeff and Bill Show in action from 6 to 10 a.m. Don't forget to try the special Jeff and Bill breakfast. Pancakes, any style eggs, and crispy bacon, all for just $7.10. It's a deal as good as their hot takes. All they need is you. Bring your appetite, bring your friends, and kick off your day with great food and great conversation. See you Wednesday, August 27th at IHOP.
Welcome back to the Jeff and Bill Show. Suzanne texted in, Billy, what was the outcome with those bullies and your daughter?
My youngest, she did go through. There were some issues. There were some things that she's worked through, and is doing much better now. The girls were all suspended, and so that was nice. And especially in high school, that did stick on their record. And I was able to reach out to a couple of the parents and have conversations with them. Not the idea that it was literally I would like you to be aware of how your child is speaking to a younger child. This is a person that is in middle school and you have a high schooler, and your high schooler is saying this. As a parent, your house, you can decide what you want to do with this. but I would be really remiss if I didn't share this information. And if it was my child speaking the same way to another child, I would want to know. Here's the information. That's it. No accusatory, no blame. And I heard through the grapevine through one of my other kids that, it really, one person lost their car for a while and some other stuff. So and again, seems appropriate. But yeah, that's it. Speaking of things that are not necessarily appropriate, let's be completely and totally inappropriate. Yes, it is time for You Choose the News, America's favorite fake radio news game show. Yes, I've browsed the interwebs for moments this morning to find really ridiculous stories about us humans. Oh, there were two I couldn't use today. Oh, boy. Yeah, I know. One of those days. But I gave them even more ridiculous headlines so that we can play this fake radio news game show. Why would we possibly do this at 6:52 in the morning? Well, nobody in charge has any idea we are this irresponsible with valuable KNUS airtime. They are still asleep. So, shh. This is just a big, giant secret, so be quiet. As always, Blake Olson joins us from the news department. Gentlemen, here are your possible choices today. Headline number 1, I see your smile. Headline number 2, it's no time machine. Headline number 3, new sports trend. And headline number 4, blame Joe. Mr. Hunt, your choice.
Oh, we're going to start by blaming Joe.
Yeah, blame Joe. During a recent episode of the Joe Rogan Experience, Mexican security expert Ed Calderon said, "Nah, I'm sorry, Joe, it's not your fault, even though we could blame you for the pandemic." Now, Joe Rogan was worried that on his show he and comedian Brian Callen had blown the Aztec death whistle just about the time that the COVID-19 pandemic began to emerge. People online in conspiracy theories said it was Joe and his friend that blew the death whistle, an ancient tool of the Aztecs, and that's the reason why death was visited upon the world. Bum, bum, bum.
What sound does that make?
It's kind of a little thing. Yeah. Basically, what the experts said is, no, the Aztecs used to blow this as a whistle when they would go into battle to frighten their enemies. No, you didn't do anything, you silly little man. Stop that, and you're being stupid. I might have added the last part of it, but someone needs to tell Joe Rogan that sometimes. But yeah, so yeah, he thought that he had actually started the pandemic, but instead, no, he just blew a whistle and it made a noise, and stop it. So yes, stop being silly. Alrighty. Now, Blake Olson, your turn, sir. I see your smile. It's no time machine or new sports trend.
It's no time machine.
Yeah, it's no time machine. You know, you remember that movie Hot Tub Time Machine? Well, hot tubs cannot take you back in time. They found that out recently. Wolf County, Kentucky. Rescue crews were called to a cabin up in the woods. A bunch of women were having an escape, a retreat. They wanted to wind down the end of the day by hanging out in the hot tub. Well, 2 of them couldn't get out. Well, they all are in their 80s and did have some other conditions, so getting up and out of the hot tub was incredibly difficult. But it can be dangerous. Those 2 women began to overheat and showed some signs of hypothermia before they actually lost consciousness in the hot tub. They called 911. Rescuers got there on the scene, but by the time caretakers of the cabin they were staying at had gotten the women out of the water, one of them was partially responsive, but the other one actually was rushed to the hospital in critical condition. They said maximum time you should be in a hot tub is 15 to 30 minutes. If it's all frothy at top, don't get in. That's a bacteria frappe. Just a side note. Don't do that one. But yes, again, if you have problems getting in and out of the tub or standing up, maybe you don't get in and out of the hot tub. Yeah. So that's
good advice.
Yes. Now, final choice this morning, Mr. Hunt. I see your smile or new sports trend.
I see your smile.
Ooh, I wish we had more time for this one. When Brent Chapman's doctor first pitched him on the idea, he thought it was crazy, but he said, yeah, doc, I will have one of my own teeth surgically embedded in my eye socket to restore my sight. It is a brand new set of surgery, and they take out your canine, which again is your eye tooth. They shave it down. It takes 2 different surgeries. They shave it down into a rectangle. Then they drill in the middle and they install a lens. Then they take the scar tissue out of your eye that and basically only works with certain types of eye problems. And then they implant the tooth under your cheek for a few months. They then after some of the tissue has grown around the tooth, they then implant it in your eye and connect it to a camera. And so far, it has restored sight in a number of people, including in a woman in Australia that's been life-changing.
Who figured this out?
I know. So, yeah.
Wow. That is wild.
Yeah, the eye ends up looking a little pink with a little black iris. That's it.
That's wild.
It's crazy looking.
Wild.
I know.
Great job, Bill Thorpe.
Hey, thank you.
All right, we'll continue. You're listening to The Jeff and Bill Show.
This is 710 KNUS.